Yeah, the educational improvement tax credit has been a great thing in the state of Pennsylvania here. You know, it's been helpful to our schools because, again, it gives a legal avenue to be able to let parents choose the education that they need for their children, and in doing that, you know, we're stronger. You know, and so I'm a very strong supporter of the educational improvement tax credit here in Pennsylvania. I know in this economic times it's a challenge, but people should know this too, and this is what I want people to understand in the state of Pennsylvania. You know, and let's just take, for example, the city of Philadelphia first, because that's what I know, but then I'm going to talk about the state in general. In just the county of Philadelphia, now in Philadelphia Archdiocese encompasses 5 counties, but we just have, I'll just take the county of Philadelphia, which is the, you know, city of Philadelphia itself. The Catholic schools, you know, last year there was a study done for the legislature talking about how much money they're giving to education, you know, and they put out the figures of what it costs each school district for each child in school. So what I did was, I said, let me just take this. So I took what was the per capita cost that the school district of Philadelphia was spending on each child, and I took the number of students that were in Philadelphia County in our Catholic schools, and I did a little bit of multiplication of math. I'm not a great math person, but I figured it out. But I came to realize that the number was that the Catholic schools in the city of Philadelphia were saving the city of Philadelphia $352 million a year. If we did not have our Catholic schools in the city of Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia would have to come up with $352 million a year more, you know, for our education budget. Now they're in crisis now. But then I looked at the state. If we were to close all the Catholic schools in the state of Pennsylvania, and that's academies, et cetera, the state of Pennsylvania would need $2 billion more a year to take care of the educational needs of our young people in this state. So what is the educational tax credit? It's cheap. You know, and it was cut, and it had gotten up to 75 million, but it's brought back down. But the problem is, unless the state steps in to help us, it's going to cost them more than $75 million. You know, because every year, as we lose students, and it's not because people don't want the product. You know, our families, I mean, I walked in the inner city streets of Philadelphia and broke my heart this past summer, you know, and there was 3 women who came up who were prostitutes who were, you know, they were on the street, but they came up and, you know, one threw her arms around me and said, "Oh, Bishop, can't you open up your school again?" And I said, "I'd like to." She said, no, you don't understand. And she pointed across to the public school. She says, "We can't send our children." And she says, "I know I messed up my life. You know, I ruined my life, but I want something better for my children. And you do it well. Can't you open up your school?" Well, that's heart-wrenching. But should people be put in that position? And for what reason? The false idea of separation of church and state? I always tell people, too, that people seem to be worried about, you know, us proselytizing and stealing everybody away. We've had Catholic ed schools for years, and many non-Catholics have got them. But we haven't destroyed them, and they're not all of a sudden coming in huge numbers. Now, that may be a scandal for us, you know, the fact that, you know, we have people who maybe are not brave, but it's the same thing. If they see this as somehow a threat, I think it's misplaced. Was it a threat? I mean, we know where it comes from. You know, we know the fear of, it's an old European style. We know of the, you know, from the Reformation, we know all that battles. But I was just today that, you know, we need to look clearly at what is legal, and we should challenge, really. Because in many ways, and just let me finish with this little thing, in many ways we have allowed the government to do something that the Founding Fathers never intended. For example, what the courts have done has said, this aids religion. So we've allowed the courts to establish what is the criteria for what aids religion and what doesn't. The Founding Fathers asked that there be a free exercise of religion. They didn't ask the government to get involved with what aids or what doesn't aid it. They said, make sure you make laws where people can freely exercise their faith. This separation of church and state does not allow free exercise of religion. I think there's no more questions. I'm very happy. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much. But again, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for your kindness and welcoming me. I look forward to working with you as we go forward. God bless.